Oh. Hey. Oh. There you are. Hey, I think we're live. Whoa. Yes. That's it. That's it. We are live, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen from all over the world, welcome to this live stream. Ah, good to be back. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the stream. Today's going to be a fun one. From a suggestion, we're going to talk about a wonderful cutter system, palette system, if you want. The REILLY cutter palette method. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Hello, Rosa, Balsam, Luis, Sentia, Felicia, Susan, Rob, Martin, Lena, Antanasios. Sorry if I mispronounce. Hello, 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 everyone. So, it's going to be fun. Let me know if the sound is alright. So, I'm not gonna have this nice light. It's cool. It's like cozy. But I'm gonna turn the real light. Alright, let's do this. Okay, my friends. So, thank you to Christopher on Discord for suggesting that we do the REILLY palette, because he gave me the idea. One of the worst thing as a content creator is finding ideas. Oh my god. Like, first of all, sometimes you do find ideas yourself, but they flop completely and you get no views. So at least if I ask you for ideas, then if the video flops, or if nobody watches the stream, then you can't blame me. So, and at least I can make someone happy. And that's what we're gonna do today. And we're gonna talk about this here. So hold on. Let's do the switcheroo. Okay. I'm here. Let me just put this and put this. Hello. I'm here, you're here, everybody's here. If you go in the Discord, you'll see this. All the way in the bottom here. All the way down, you go on this field here and you have content suggestion. And this is what Christopher suggested. I think we need to explore the Frank REILLY palette. What is it? Benefits, costs, what we can learn from it, how one can adopt it to one's needs. Hey, there's a new... Oh yes, of course. Everybody, every time I post, there's going to be an update in the Discord done by Steven, the bot, which was made by Rob, if my memory is right. Alright, so that's just the update. This was a screenshot taken during the previous stream. By the way, if you type !screenshot, it will take a screenshot, and most likely my face will be like that, right in the middle of the frame, which is, like, you know, usual. That's always like that. It always happens like that. Like, look at this. All those screenshots taken during stream, like my big nose. There's always something. This was with Andrew. crazy scenes from the stream when he had this pheasant and rabbit. Alright, and my face in the middle, as always. Oh, this one is cool. Remember this live with Kelsey when she had like the sunbeam? Pretty cool. Couldn't have made it more perfect. And yeah, obviously again, my face just right in front of everything. And that's it. So that's live stream and content suggestion. That's your place. It's the place to be. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do today. So, bonsoir Jasmine, bonsoir everyone, bonsoir. Hello Peter, Dassy, Andrea from East Coast USA, and Emo, of course. All right. What is this music here? Something more cozy like that, probably. It's going to be a cozy stream. We're just going to geek out, talk nerd talk for painters. We're going to nerd out on painting stuff. What is the REILLY method or REILLY palette? We're going to talk about that. But first we have to do art news. Your favorite art source for news is this channel. 100% trusted art source. And this is from the art section in The Guardian, British newspaper. Mystery of Raphael masterpiece may have been solved by Bradford-made AI. Okay, nice. Algorithm concludes most of Madonna della Rosa was by Renaissance master, but not the face of Joseph. All right, we're gonna read about that because the experts in this field are so picky about who's able to attribute this sort of things that, I don't know, you'll tell me what you think about it. But I don't know, like most of the time, if you've watched any Fake of Fortune episode, you know how picky they are. Like you have to get the one single expert that can give a solid attribution, otherwise it's inconclusive. So I don't know what they're gonna make of this AI sort of AI proving that it's an original, except for this part. I don't know if they're going to consider that as legit, like if the human experts in the field will recognize that as legit or not. But that's showing how AI is slowly creeping its way into all facets of everything, of basically human life in general. Like everything is going to be, or maybe it's just a gimmick and a selling point for some of this Bradford thing that they've created, and they just want to sell the idea because it's their project. They're pretty proud of it, and it has no real use. We'll see. I haven't read it. So the mystery surrounding a long debated Raphael masterpiece that hangs in the Prado Madrid may have been solved by an AI developed in Bradford. So the Madonna della Rosa has intrigued art connoisseur and experts for centuries. The painting depicts Mary, Joseph, and until doubts were raised in the 19th century. Art historians argued it should also be attributed to his workshop. So the old debate is this just from the hand of the master, or is it from master and studio, which to me is not such a big debate. In the end it's kind of the same, but hey. Some said the Joseph figure looked like an afterthought and could not possibly be by the hand of Raphael. Let me see. Let me see that. I'm gonna be the judge of that. You're going to be the judge of that. Okay. Not like I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough to judge, but I don't know. I think it's a very yeah. It does feel like it's been added afterwards, so maybe an afterthought. But again, it may also be to complete the sort of the family without taking away the focus. So it can be on purpose that he looks more like, I don't know. I don't know. So let's see what the AI says. Well, let's see what the human experts say first. Some say the Joseph figure looked like an afterthought. Okay. In Spain, the painting has always been attributed to Raphael. The painting has now been tested by AI developed by Professor of Visual Computing. Its conclusion is that most of the painting is by Raphael. So basically, the AI concluded the same thing as the humans before. The lower portion is most likely by Raphael. Ugal said the algorithm was developed after it looked in extraordinary detail at 49 uncontested works by Raphael and can, as a result, recognize authentic works by the artist with 98% accuracy. The computer is looking in very great detail at a painting, not just the face. It's looking at all its parts, and is learning about the color palette, the hues, the tonal values, and the brush strokes. It understands the painting in an almost microscopic way, and it is learning all the key characteristics of Raphael's hand. In the case of the Madonna, the initial testing showed that it was 60% by Raphael. The computer then looked at the painting by section and concluded that it was the face of Joseph that was not by Raphael. Which is kind of strange though, because most of the time the students would be allowed to paint all the drapery, bodies, details here and there, but mostly the face were the work of the master, which was a gauge of selling it for a better price in the end. Like telling that the master made the faces was guaranteeing a better sell price. It was bought as a genuine Raphael, so this is the provenance. In 2016, the art historian Bendor Grosvenor claimed on the BBC that it was Raphael. Experts at the National Gallery later said that was unlikely. AI, as cited with Grosvenor, concluded is most likely a work by Raphael. Okay. The process of authenticating a work involves looking at many aspects: its provenance, pigments, condition of the work, and so on. This sort of software can be used as one tool to assist in the process. Okay. Good. Well, I think it's a nice painting. It doesn't take away anything from the painting. That's cool. I still think that the face of Joseph could have been done by Raphael, and it could have been done an afterthought of the master himself. I do have to say, yeah, it's true, this drapery doesn't look very good, but it can also be mostly in the shadow to bring spotlight on the main figures. So I don't know. Still cool. They look mad, lol. Well, maybe they know the destiny of Christ. And, so, what is the picture's name? So it's the Madonna della Rosa in the Prado. All right, cool. So this was our art news section. So now let's switch to our next section. The REILLY method. So coming from Frank J. Reilly, and that's what we're going to study today. We're going to jump right into it, and we're going to study it. I'm going to study what I know from it, but just to tell you, I'm no expert in this method at all. I know about it, but for example, I made an entire color theory course and I didn't include it because I think that I thought that it was more a sort of how to say, a sort of a different way to organize the Monsel color system rather than a color system of its own. It's more a nice, clean way of organizing your colors and not really fundamentally a system that invents anything new. So in my color theory course, I didn't include this as part of the curriculum because it's not like a system of its own. Like fundamentally, there's nothing really new. But it's a neat way of organizing. But it has kind of an underlying fundamental structure that's very interesting. And we're going to talk about who it can be for and who, like, what use cases can be valuable in this case. Why do all the old babies look like this, the same? Why do they look the same because like it was very codified and most of the babies at the time were Christ and you weren't allowed to paint Christ. Like for a very long time there was this code of the homunculi, if my memory is right, where you were supposed to paint the baby Christ, the infant Christ, with adult features, because, well, you couldn't paint it as paint a perfect baby is actually an imperfect person, but like the figure of Christ is supposed to be perfect. So how can you do that? So the weird idea that they had before Raphael was to paint the baby with weird features. Let me... So you had some very strange... You had some strange stuff like that. Like trying to put adult features on a small face. But with Raphael, it actually became much better. At least they were idealized, but child looking still. So with actual child features, you know, big round cheeks, little cute features, but still idealized. So they all look kind of the same, like almost like cherubs, because they are very idealized. But most of the Raphael women also look very Raphael-like, which is why just looking at that you can spot Raphael only from this face here. And yeah, baby don't stay still, maybe, so they couldn't technically have them to pose. And well, actually having women to pose was forbidden for such a long time that, like, think about it, like having actual women model was forbidden for a very long time. So artists had to just use canons and use idealized features that you could find on Greek sculptures, for example. Yeah, I thought they didn't know how to do babies, but now I understand it was intentional. Yeah, there's this weird homunculus concept, which literally means little man. So yeah, it was on purpose. It looks very weird, but yeah. And with Raphael, the approach is different, except that in his case, he's mostly using Greek and Roman canons, so idealized features, basically almost using a technique like, you know, the Loomis or the REILLY drawing method, like you take, you know, like you have kind of an archetype for the face with certain lines, certain proportions, and always use the same. And that's why they mostly all look the same. The old master were able to paint a perfect baby. There was a kind of codex you have to follow. Same for painting nudes. Real people are banned, but heroes, gods, and so on are allowed. Yeah, and if you had to get a nude model, it was very tricky unless your name is Da Vinci and you can dissect, and everybody's letting you do that because you're such a crazy genius that you do you and people leave you alone. But other than that, it was anatomy was forbidden. Having actual nude models was forbidden in many places. So you only had like Greek statues to refer to. And they are classical idealizations of the human body, not actual models of real people. So he painted Joseph in the shadows such we could forget it exists. Pretty much, I think it was intentional, which is why I wouldn't say, like, I would need to see it from closer, but I could still see that face as being done by Raphael. I still find it solid. I heard Raphael drew the same girl from a girl he idealized. Yeah, a lot of them did that. Botticelli also did that. In the case of Raphael, I think his love interest was a girl name or nicknamed like La Fornzanina, something like that. My memory is not right, but I wonder what's in the baby's hand. I think it's the kind of the revelation of, I don't know what it says. Is my recording running? Well, my recording, I'm not recording yet because we aren't into the subject, but let's switch. Alright, so let's stop talking about that because we were actually talking about the REILLY. So again, back to that. So Frank REILLY was an American illustrator who was mostly known for his teaching and still is today. So he worked mostly in illustration, commercial illustration, in the early 20th century, and he's also well known for the people that he taught during his teaching years in the Art Students League of New York. So this is all I'm not gonna read this all, but this is kind of a little biography if you want. And he's well known for his work, but mostly for his teaching and for the prestigious students that he had, who a lot of the time referred to his teaching method as the REILLY method. So what we're gonna see today, this palette, has been called the REILLY palette, but it's actually his own students who called it that. And he didn't like say this is my palette. That's just how he used to paint, how he used to teach, and they found it so interesting and influential for them in their illustrator or fine arts career that they've always referred to this way of working as the REILLY palette. So he never actually wrote a book, and the only thing he did was teach in the Art Students League. So this is still the biography. Like, if you're really interested in that, should put the links. But hi Drusilla. So this is it. What we're focusing on today. The architect of how art is basically taught and learned throughout the world today. I wouldn't say that though, but he incorporated a systematic structure and order to producing art, and we will see it's very systematic, it's very orderly, very organized, probably a bit too much, and you know, I'm not somebody who will, you know, I'm not the type of guy, like, I'm very organized and very structured. My paintings, sometimes people make fun of me for being too square. I never shy away from being structured and organized. In this case, with the REILLY, maybe it's a bit much. We'll see. We'll see. It's sometimes a bit of a waste of time, depending on what you do. But we'll see. It can also save you time, but it can also be a bit too much. Let's say that. So, so the palette is arranged by hue. So what it looks like is this. It looks something like that. And we're gonna see it. We're gonna see what the principles are. My sources, so I don't have this book, I've never read it actually, so I should just disclose that. In Munsell.com, the official Munsell color kind of system, they have an interview of Ralph Garofalo. And this is a painter who wrote this book about Frank REILLY, who himself never had the opportunity to put this into writing. So that's by Ralph Garofalo, and this is where most of the authentic information is about this method. This guy studied with Frank REILLY for 7 years. So this is the author, probably using the REILLY method. Painting cats. Doesn't tell you much here about, and it's all based on the Munsell. So Munsell here, I think maybe it's not in the right order, actually. Christopher, you should have asked for a Munsell video before. But hey, maybe we should have done this one first, because it would have made more sense if you understand this one first, then you understand the REILLY. But let's just stick to this, because that's key here. We are going to see something very important with the Munsell color system, is that it's, but like, if you follow my channel, you know about that, don't worry, you know about that. It's just that the Munsell has 3 main dimensions, so hue, and with the Munsell you have 10 of those: yellow, green, blue-green, blue, purple, purple, red, and yellow-red. So you have 10 of those. It was based on the ambition of Munsell was to make a decimal system for a color, basically. That's the idea of the Munsell. Let me remove this. Next, you have obviously values. Well, you know what this is black, white, and all the nuances between of light to dark. And the most important is this one. Well, not the most important, but the most unintuitive one is this one, chroma. Some people call it saturation. I don't mind. It's not the same. But again, if you want to call it saturation, be my guest. There's no shame in that. If it helps you understand it, it's okay. Like it can be used interchangeably, no problem. No problem. Hello, Adnan. Hey, Socrates. So, yeah. So basically, Munsell divides color into 3, which means that for the Munsell color system to work, you have to basically let me see. You have to basically have something like that. This is the kind of color wheel that you have. It has to be 3D. Look at this. It's like an actual 3D color wheel. Because it's like that, that's how it works. It's a color space. Or a Munsell color tree. Because there are 3 dimensions. Think about it. A color wheel is always flat. It's always 2 dimensions. But if you have 3 dimensions, and I do believe that color has indeed 3 dimensions, you have to picture that in a 3D space. How do you make that? It's tricky. You have to do that. That's how you get it. Or you make a 3D software, or like every way of representing the 3 dimensions of color is imperfect by default. Every way. For example, if I take my own way of representing, the choice that I had, because I wanted to have a, where is it? It's here. I really wanted to have the 3 dimensions of color all represented in a flat surface. So what I did was I sort of made 3 wheels. This way you have value here, hue, like you have 36 gradations in my case, and chroma, you just have 3 gradations. But you can picture the other variations in your head, right? Well, this is the idea. That's the only way to have it on a flat surface, like, or you do something like that, or you have color charts, and each color has its charts. So each hue has its, unique chart. So that's how the Munsell color system works. And so what Frank Reilly did was to organize it in a practical way. Because on its own, the Munsell color system, it gets very nerdy. Like, it gets into decimals. The naming system is very obscure. Like, it's very scientific, but it's a pain to use. It's not practical, but hey. So, that's how it's the good thing about the Reilly method is organizing the Munsell color system so that it looks and feels great, and you can pick it up. It's a useful system, and you can use it easily. That's cool. So now so you have various versions. I've seen a little bit of everything. Technically, the REILLY method, well, actually I'm going to start in the other direction. I don't like this orientation. I'm going to start it in the opposite direction. I'm going to start it with the white on the right. I don't know. Is this weird? I was feeling like that. Like, now my brain is mentally wired to see the white on the right, because I think it makes sense. You tell me, does it make sense? At least it's a good, you know, mnemonic trick to remember it, white on the right. You don't have to. I just find it useful. Just find it that it flows. So I think these are actual papers that were from his notes, from REILLY's notes. So painting indoors, and yeah, the REILLY method, from all I've seen, is this, and there's a landscape version. Doesn't mean that he doesn't use all the other colors. Is that most of the other colors, I think he was using like more freely with a less organized approach, probably. Or just making a little bit of a blue scale if you had to paint a blue shirt or whatever, you know. Or freehand if you had to. That's what I get from it. And there's also a sort of a landscape variation. So yeah, there's kind of a weird placing. It's not... I'm gonna tell you what I think in the end, but it's not necessarily the most, you know, fun palette of convenience, it's called. Complexion in paint. It's a very scientific approach, but we'll see doing it that it's not super artistic. Doesn't feel great as an artist to paint with it. And that's probably why it's so it's not something that I would technically use myself. But hey, so does anybody have experience with this palette? Because I have to admit that I'm kind of exploring it as I do with you. So if you do have experience using this palette, and if you want to tell about if you find it useful or not, just let me know, because like for me, it's not the first time that it's actually the first time that I'm gonna lay out all the colors just to impress you guys, but in reality I wouldn't waste my time with this. Not that it's not good, but I already do a bit of a similar approach in my own painting method. My own painting method already implies kind of using strings of values, except it's a little bit less methodic, and it's not always the same value strings. The colors, they change, but other than that, I already pretty much have the same approach. Okay, so I think we are going to need some so it's not a palette. I've seen it done with several different pigments. It's not a palette, meaning it's a list of pigments that you always have to use. In this case we need cadmium orange, but I assume you can do the same with a different pigment. I don't know. I haven't read the book exactly, But I would assume that if you have an orange of your choice that's not cadmium orange, that works just as well as cadmium orange, in that case, why not use it? Right, so we do have cadmium orange. I think we need quinacridone, if my memory is right. I'm putting some colors on the side. That's not the palette. The palette is not the pigment selection. So we're gonna need more than that. I think we need cad red as well. That's one of the... If you want to replace it, I don't know what it says about replacing. I'm gonna use a study brand here. I don't know what it says about using using cadmium. Do you have to or not? But we're gonna do it for today. Next we need some alizarin, I think. I would spend a few days tubing up the colors if I were to use the REILLY system. That would be a great idea. You keep that idea for later, because after we do all the review, you'll see the time that it takes as well. Obviously, I'm going to be very talkative and just spend time talking to you, of course, but you'll see that it takes a long time. So if preparing your palette every day before you start your painting session takes you, let's say, 30 minutes to an hour, maybe, that's a good time, like, of preparation. Like, starting a painting is not like pick and go. Like, it takes some preparation, let's be honest. So from 30 to an hour with the REILLY, it can be up to 1.5 hours or 2 hours. Like, it can double the amount of time. I don't know. It can be like, really, it can take more time, because you'll see that we have a lot more to mix. And the only problem, tubing up, preparing the colors in advance and tubing them up, like if you have all these colors here, and you want to tube them up, like prepare a big batch in a tube, the big problem is that a lot of them, they have fast drying pigments. So it doesn't make it very easy. So I'm gonna use some titanium white, but I'm gonna use some, my yellow here is the transparent. I'm gonna use this titanium white here. Oh my god, these are old paint tubes. I want to use the paint that I don't care about too much. Next we need, so do I have my cadmium? Yeah, cadmium red. So I need some raw umber, yellow ochre. Yeah, I do need that. Raw umber. I think I need burnt umber, so I'm gonna use this one. And alizarin, yeah, I need to find the alizarin. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. It's always when you're looking for this pigment, oh my god, I'm complaining because I have too many paint tubes. Poor me. I just have too many paint tubes. I can never find what I'm looking for. So sad. Oh. Here's the one. Old one. I'm gonna actually use this traditional alizarin, which is not something that I recommend, but it's just a study. So in this case, I would recommend it. Okay, I always feel this is weird to use the same palette of another artist. I think instinctively we can create our own palette from what attracts us in painting, but I admit inspiration by some painters can be useful, I guess. Yeah, I think they use cadmium because we need the highest chroma. That's going to be very important, and also yeah. But if you can, like, let's say with a P-roll red, you can get the same type of red. So in this case, I guess it would also work. But I need actually something. So after I mix this, I'm gonna try to paint a bit with it, and well, you'll see that it's pretty straightforward. I'm not gonna lie. Nothing. Nothing super special. So I'm just going to need this to unscrew those caps. Some of them are pretty old. Ouch. Yeah, got it. I don't use oils often, and also this is interesting to me. All this prep is making me self-conscious. No, don't worry. It doesn't have to be. It's not always like that. So yeah, don't worry. Like in this case, we are taking a lot more time than needed. But yeah, technically, if you're used to the system, like right now, we're just taking our time and slowly analyzing the system. So we're gonna talk, discuss a lot. In reality, yeah, in reality, preparing, like when I said preparation, I meant preparing your brushes, preparing everything, preparing your canvas, preparing your easel, preparing yourself. Like it all takes a long time, and preparing the palette, like pre-mixing. Like some people don't do it. Like some people just use whatever they have on the side and bam, take their paintbrush and mix on the fly. And that's what saves the most time. And if it works for you, by all means, this is what you should do. All right, so now we're gonna have to count 10 from, oh yes, ivory black. I didn't remember. So we need ivory black, basically. But REILLY palette or not, call it however you want. What we're gonna see there, what we're gonna see happening there on top is still legit, and this is worth your time. If you take anything from this REILLY palette, you can take at least this principle here and this main idea here, that we're gonna create a string, a value string of so 10. So that's 8 excluding the main ones. So that's maybe 1, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so what you want to do first is you want to mix. Actually, I'm not gonna mix here. Well, you should technically mix here. Well, I'm probably going to do it. It's just this. I hope it's not too flimsy. I tried to put this this palette here. I hope it's not too flimsy. I'm gonna bring it up here. My palette's so filthy, everyone resorted to just pouring paint on top. that's not my style. I know that. I know that a lot of painters have messy palettes, but if you have a messy palette, you can't complain if your paintings get messy. That's just all I say. Alright, let's try to mix on the fly here. So this would be our mixing pool. And we're going to take... So basically what you try to do is have a value string that's nice and balanced. So first of all, what I want to match is this background here. It's halfway between black and white, and I think I'm pretty much. I think I'm pretty good. What do you think in terms of value? Lighter than this? Okay, let's put it here. So this would be our 50%. What I like to do is take it from here and gradually add white. Well, it's gonna take some time, but we're gonna make it. Like technically you wouldn't be as careful, or you would pre-mix it way in advance. I'm gonna waste more paint than what I would recommend as well. You'll see that there's going to be quite a substantial amount of waste here in the bottom. Kind of has to be expected from what I do here, but like technically, this is what I don't like about this system. It's not very practical. It's very structured, methodical and all, but not very practical. It's not an everyday technique. It's more, I would recommend it more to someone trying to learn, someone that really struggles with value and color accuracy. In this case, yeah, I wouldn't say that an experienced painter would need anything like that, because technically I already do something like that with my palette, but I don't call it REILLY method or whatever. I just technically, when I have my palette, just look at this. I'm gonna create 10. It's actually one extra here. So okay, whatever. I'm gonna create 10 gradations here, but you can also do that. Take some black here, take some white here, and you just go like that. And here you don't have 10, you have like kind of a little infinity of gradations that you can pick from. Like this is what I call the flowing scale, and you can make it as big as you want. Like look at this. For those who like more filthy, you can pretty much do the same. Instead of splitting them in very tidy or orderly fashion here, like what I'm doing here, you can do that. It's much more spontaneous. And actually, you get much more nuance. It's just they are harder to spot. But you can also picture something like that. Imagine that the first day one, you do your REILLY palette if you're interested in this technique. You then take the paper underneath, like this is a glass palette. You take what's underneath and you trace the lines, showing like this is section 1, this is oh no, this is in REILLY's, this is 10 9 8, and you just trace lines, but on your palette you actually go like that, and you do the free scale like that. It's actually much more useful in the end. So put this here. Just a touch of white here is enough to bring this lower in terms of value. Okay, and then I saw that I have one extra here, which is not good. All right, so let's clean up. Oh, see, I told you it's not really, oh. It's not really sturdy. My contraption here, I wouldn't trust it with my life, let's say that. All right, but I'm gonna fix this. All right, this is good. This is the good stuff. So in this case, in the case of the REILLY method, basically this would be called 10 9 8 7. Well, okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Oh, okay, no, I did have 10. Sorry, I miscounted. Or whatever. Like this really shows what I'm saying. Like this type of stuff, like, doesn't matter here in this case. Like, how many just nuances do you really have, and how many do you really need? Like, this doesn't matter, because you end up making samples that really feel like they are all the same. I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna use this as tutorial, but Okay. Sorry, I had to adjust the settings on my computer. I want to make it look all tidy and all, but really this would be the actual waste of time. Okay, so now, next, the idea of the REILLY palette is that you have this color scale here, and we're going to have one red scale here, one orange here, and one kind of yellowish skin tone-ish here. And others would be underneath. And basically it's going to give us a very fancy grid with tons of colors that we can pick from and alternate between. What I do like about this system is this, but you can just keep this and do whatever. Like, let's say you have a blue, you want to do a blue stuff. Like, you can have your blue color scale here. You make one here. This is just for demonstration. This is not the REILLY palette and all, but I kind of like this idea. So if you can take one thing from that, is that you do your little scale with just the values that you need. Let's say you only need this for this blue shirt that you want to paint. We'll just do that. Don't need more. That's cool. And then when you mix, if you take this, it's more chromatic, more on the blue side, but you can also pick up some of this, mix them together, and see, you can mix between those. See? That's the idea. In our case, we're not going to make a blue scale. I don't know how REILLY was mixing the blues. I'm sure he was mixing them somehow. But it's not part of what I have been watching about this method. So I don't know. But we're gonna start with. Oh my god, this one. Ooh. Oh my god, don't tell me that I'm gonna have to grab some warm water. I'm trying to unscrew this. Oh my god. Alright, I'm gonna check it if I have another alizarin, because this one is going to be a murder live on YouTube. I'm gonna have blood on my hands, but nobody will be found. And this blood will look strangely like alizarin crimson. So, what else do I have? Because I have other versions, I have other, you know. The good thing about making a course about color theory is like you get to try a lot of different pigments. I'm pretty sure I have some. Yes! Yes! Good. I hope I can open this one. I hope I can open this one. Yes! Ladies and gentlemen, this is off. So we put the... Oh. It's drooly. I don't like that when they're drooling well, but when they're kind of old, it happens. So alizarin crimson here. You would put, so technically you put alizarin crimson here. You put cadmium red at, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'd put cadmium red here. And technically it should have the same value, but if it doesn't, well, okay. If it doesn't, you can put it at a different spot. Like if you're a cadmium, if you have cadmium yellow, this is cadmium yellow middle. So if you have cadmium yellow light, maybe it will be there. If you have cadmium cadmium red deep, maybe it will be there. I don't know. Like it can vary. And now with, of course, titanium as well. So I'm gonna put more titanium, but I'm gonna put it here for my mixing pool because I don't want this one to get all dirty. So you're gonna mix some pink from these. So, well, let's start with the darks. So you take, let's say 75% of this and 25% of this. But I think, yeah, actually you do put the black, you put black here, and basically you incorporate some of this into this. So you need to have some extra here. And you put some of this black here to darken, because you don't want the value to be max, the chroma to be max. You want to drop it down, even in your pre-made mixture, otherwise it's pretty much unusable. And actually more red. In this case here. I should make this more clean, but for the sake of the demonstration. From my understanding, you have to mix the black with it, or the neutral with it. But I've seen it done differently elsewhere. I've seen it, to be very honest, like, don't do what I do. Simply, like, don't just do something tedious and useless if you don't think that it's ever going to be useful. In my case, it's more for the learning experience that we do that, but wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so now the same here, but instead of mixing it with the white, we mix it with this light part. Okay. And you try to get the same value for this and this. At least it's the spirit. So you get the point how you, well, technically I should incorporate a little bit of gray here in there as well. It makes for better skin tones. A bit too much. Don't add too much. I think alizarin crimson is value 2 out of the tube, and you only add black to get value 1. Okay, let's see the notes. Okay, so I did some extra steps by pushing the black in it. Yeah, actually, yeah, the alizarin, sorry. The alizarin out of the tube. Oh yeah, you don't add the black, okay. You don't, alright, so, okay. But it's super, yeah, it's super chromatic. Okay, so my bad. What I can do is just change these. So, yeah, the right theory is that, it's my bad actually. Because I've seen it done this way. So and to me it made more sense to have like all 10, 10, 10. But from the REILLY papers, I see that the alizarin out of the tube is here actually. So let's do it again, and let's put the alizarin here. Yeah, similar-ish value. And there is no addition of black, so this will stay pure. So just need to remove this one. So yeah, very simple then. It saves a bit of time then. So the alizarin here would go 75 here. So we haven't included the orange yet, so, but we're gonna have tons of these. Yeah, they're gonna look gorgeous. And then so a bit of white. It's good that I'm using the pigments that I don't really care for that much. Okay. All right. So 1, 2, 5, 6. And then this one, this last one. Very subtle, almost no red, almost only white. Okay, so this one goes with this one here. It's number 9. Okay. Yeah, it's much simpler this way. I find the colors like that, just looking at them, to me they kind of burn my eyes by default. So I wouldn't be too pleased to have so many super bright reds like that that I know I'm not gonna use. Like, And even if you just, because the principle then is to mix these with the other strings, I don't know if I'm gonna actually enjoy having them all sitting in my face. One time, Florent used a beautiful orange made with Venetian red and yellow ochre. So beautiful. Yeah, I really love Venetian red. Is one gorgeous color. I made it earlier today actually for my painting. This one is definitely more punchy. Yeah. But this is, if you want to take anything from it, you don't have to take the entire system, but you can take some things from it. Sorry, I just realized that it's not super sharp. What I was saying is, you don't have to take the entire system, but if you want to take anything from it, it's a good idea to darken a red with alizarin crimson, and you can darken with alizarin crimson and even bring the alizarin even darker with a touch of black. It works. So that's one cool thing. Hello Jonas. Now we are going to use some burnt umber. Alright, see you, Balsam. Have a good day. Okay, so we're gonna need some burnt umber, and the burnt umber I assume is going to be there. So the burnt umber is considered an orange, yeah, because brown is technically a dark, dull orange. Pretty, that's pretty simple. How come it doesn't work? How come it doesn't work? Am I not connected? Oh yes, I'm not connected. Okay, I'm not connected to my user streamer bot, so you can't take the screenshot at the moment, sorry. Don't know what it's the case. I'm gonna fix that. Trying to fix it, Felicia, but I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's working. Okay. Okay, now it should work now. Now the screenshot should work. But you can wait, because there's going to be more coming up. So now burnt umber is here at number, so this would be 1. And I'm gonna have to put some cad orange. So my cad orange is pretty bright, pretty light. So I'm gonna try to find where it should sit, but mine is, I think this, no, mine is actually here. Crimson is value, well, I would say 1, depends on depends on what you... And next you can do that, and then you just mix basically cadmium, orange, and burnt umber, which I find to be a very unnecessary mix. Given the price of the cadmium orange, yes, this is a beautiful orange. I think it's kind of a waste. Really a waste. If you've looked at my video about using earth tones to make skin tones, like, you don't need cadmium orange for skin tones. It's definitely, it is a beautiful orange. It looks great. But you're gonna spend your entire time toning it down. If you use this beautiful color, use it for what it is. Don't try to bring it down so much for skin tones. It's so strong that just a touch is enough. If you want to use it for skin tones, it can be used. It's just a little touch will do the trick most of the time. So here, this one mix here. So your color though doesn't have a default position. To respond to Christopher, it's not necessarily 2 by default. Like in most of the demonstrations that I've watched, the cadmium, they placed it here at 5, but mine is a little bit lighter in my opinion, so more here. Really, you have to adjust and just put your pigments where they belong. And finally, we have a yellow ochre. So my yellow ochre though, the thing is, my yellow ochre already looks so much like that. So why would I need to make more or less the same? Yellow ochre is not really yellow, it's more orange. So why, like, I don't really get this one. Like, to me, it doesn't really make sense. It's actually, I missed a step here. Okay. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, this is the REILLY palette. This was slow. This was tedious, but we've made it. And now you have a very organized palette. So now let's talk serious stuff. Should you use it? No. Should you try it? Yes. Should you do practice and studies with it? Yes. Should you use it every day? My God, no. Don't do that. You're gonna drive yourself crazy from from all the tedium that it implies. Hey, look at that!
Taken in the Discord.
A screenshot without my face in the middle, but hold on, I haven't cleaned. I'm gonna make the palette more clean. Look. Yeah, ochre by default. Like, I don't know, really. What's funny is that I'm not bashing on the guy. He was a wonderful artist, wonderful teacher. But I don't know, he used yellow ochre, but he didn't really take the time to look that carefully at yellow ochre to understand that to mix the skin tones, I mean, you can pretty much do everything you need with the yellow ochre and a touch of this. So basically the idea now that you have that is that you take a... Oh, now there's a cooldown, Felicia, sorry. You take a bit of this one, let's say, you say, well, this would be my, my skin tones. And, well, it needs to be a little bit more pink, so bring on the pink. I'm showing it here, but technically I've seen it done like that. Like, you know, like that. They do like that. I don't know how I think about that, how I feel about that. Like, I've seen it. I've seen, like, I think the picture that I have on the thumbnail is of someone who had, like, used, you know, like little dabs in the corners, like that.
Screenshot taken in the Discord.
Yeah, it's just a cooldown, Felicia. Like, so that people don't take screenshots all the time at the same time. So what I've seen done is that, so using the corners only like that. But I don't know, technically I find it kind of small-ish. So you only have, if you do that, if you don't use a mixing pool on the side, like here, for example, in this case, you're kind of limited to a small brush. Let's say I want to use that. How do I pick a color with that? Like, look at that. It's way too big. So if I have my big brush like that, how do I pick color? I don't. Even that, how do I pick color with that? Doesn't, like, it's not a practical system. That's what I want to get into, is really, I like the idea, and please practice with it, especially if you struggle with your colors, if your colors never behave properly. Practice with that, it's awesome. Just do it, just make a demo out of that. Practically doing that every day, yeah, it's not for me, and I don't think it's for you. Yeah, you're limited to a small little, it's mostly for very tight, very organized painters. Yeah, people use small cabinets with shelves. I've seen that. It's the prismatic cutter. Yeah, this little cabinet, I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna try to find it and show it to you. It's really something, not something that I recommend either. It was actually on James Gurney's look at this. Yeah. Look at this beast. So this is what Rob was talking about. The little shelf thingy. So all the colors here are organized vertically like that. Sorry, it's not very big, but you get the point. I don't know if I can zoom in. No, I can't really zoom in any closer. Maybe doing this. Oh. So this would be a way to, like, you would pre-mix the idea with the REILLY method. You could pre-mix all of these that we did. So see, here is the neutral, the white, black, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, okay. And but the tedium is, oh my god. Yeah, James Gurney Journey, greatest blog. So prismatic palette. A shelf-like palette arrangement for easel called the prismatic palette. The value scale was the essence of the shelf arrangements, with emphasis on orange value as the unifying tones of the lights. The shelves were arrayed with a string of greens made from parent green, premixed value strings of blue, violet, and gray to calibrate atmospheric perspective. A shelf for premixed tints for the sky, and a control string of pure colors squeezed from the tubes, arranged by value from light to dark. Modulating a color with its complement was often substituted by mixing gray or brown into that color, perhaps an influence of Frank's teacher, Frank Vincent, and Dumont's teacher. It clarifies several strings of colors into 7 steps, with the lightest or highest values descending to the lowest or darkest tones. Frank REILLY also taught a value-based system of premixing palette colors, but it was different from Mason's. REILLY's lineage connects him to Jérôme de la Roche and Boulanger. Both systems are descendants of a common practice among painters before the 20th century to premix colors in sequence of stepped values, analogous to the keys and manuals of a pipe organ. That's nice. That's nice. That's a nice idea. Really cool, very instructive. I think there's a lot to learn from there. I'm not signing for that though. But you know, whatever helps, I guess. All right, so yeah, so that's the point. All right, let's clean up here, and actually it's fine. I have a little bit of a small hand to paint in one of my paintings. So we're gonna try it on an actual painting. But all in all, how much time did it take us? A long time. For maybe 90% of this will be wasted at the end. Well, you can keep it for later and all. It's fine, except that in our case, we used a lot of this is burnt umber. There was raw umber at some point. I don't remember where the raw umber was, but okay, so there was raw umber. Actually, yeah, raw umber is supposed to continue this. Oh yeah, I didn't finish it actually. Technically, raw umber gets here, and you continue the yellow ochre, like 2 steps in. See, when you think it's done, it's not even done. So you can take another screenshot. I think this should be the definitive version. But whatever, like 4 8 changes really. Like, I'm not sold on this idea. I don't know what you feel about this one. Alright, so, but Christopher had some pretty clear questions, and we're gonna just review them all. So what is it? We pretty much covered here. The benefits. So what would be the benefits of this? Hold on. I'm just raising my easel. Sorry, maybe I should mute for that. Next time I'll mute. Sorry. Okay. Ooh. Oh. So, what are the who is it for, and what are the benefits? The benefits is if you want to study and find a very scientific approach to color mixing, like if you think that your color has 0 method and you want a method that would discipline your colors, basically. Imagine that you think that your coloring lacks discipline. Well, in that case, this is for you. It really brings an almost scientific precision to the art of color mixing. And for some, it might be, you know, the trigger that's going to help them understand color. For me, it was the Munsell color system, and I'm not gonna lie, the Munsell color system changed my perception of color and color mixing forever. But I'm not using it. I'm not using the Munsell color system. It's too awkward and too impractical for me to use every day. However, learning it and learning from it in the beginning helped me. And this REILLY palette is derived from the Munsell. It's basically it's a mod of the Munsell. Or variation, if you want. So, I'm gonna put my palette here and mix just as if it was my actual palette. I think the system may be good for teachers who have all the students on the same page, possibly. Yes, as I said, it's good to get the first, you know, kind of trigger in terms of thinking about color as a painter, a realistic painter. Like, to me, it feels like you know, talking about scales, to me, it pretty much feels like playing scales on an instrument. It feels like playing music, but it's not actually playing music. But most musicians benefit from doing that at first. And I get the same feeling with that. It's like playing scales. Yeah, exactly. Like if you do that, Christopher, like the cards that Anya makes, so basically you do that, make it better than mine, make it more, you know, you can do that with little separations and make them nice and square and make sure the mixes are more, you know, more even and all. But yeah, definitely it can be very good for practice, for studying and stuff. In my case, like, as you see, most of the colors here, if you compare, and they pretty much have similar color. I also have an orange, red range. But if you compare my painting to this palette here, like most of it is overblown and like over chromatic. Like most of it is too chromatic, so I have to tone down a lot using the control here, the neutral string. But what's the actual point? Hey Chad, yeah, it is the horse from the previous, yeah. I still need to do the saddle though. I need to find a good reference for a saddle. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. So, alright, so can I find a hand? Yes, I can. Okay. You know, it feels awkward. It feels awkward, just the idea of using this feels like a Sudoku grid of color. Alright, I need to raise it up even. Oh, thank you, Jasmine. This is the best compliment. The best compliment. I hope I have a touch. I even aim to have more than a touch. I'm a big fan. Like, you know, I always talk about the Renaissance. I'm mostly the only guy like that's still interested in these old paintings. Talked to you about Raphael in the first 10 minutes of the stream. Okay. Oh my god, this is awkward. Alright, so let's try this REILLY thing. I'll try to zoom in a bit on the palette itself. Well, yeah, if you are terrible with color, Then, if you say about yourself, I'm terrible with color, then this method can be useful for you. If you're the kind of person who likes to be more, you know, chill, relaxed, more spontaneous with colors, in that case, it's not for you. Okay, so I want to have a pretty fair skin. I want to have something like that. Let's just start with the basic color. You would normally put that in the little container, but I always like to do that. Put this on the side, my medium. Let's start with the dark. Let's start with that, a touch of ivory, touch of burnt umber, touch of alizarin. See, all these mixtures are stuff that I could do without all the string here. I like to have a little mixing pool. I don't know how you're supposed to do if you don't do that. So, Christopher, if you try it, put your results in the Discord and let us know. And if you also have other suggestions and ideas, like, please put this in the Discord content suggestions. Because it really helps. Like, it helps me pick a subject for the stream. Sometimes I don't have an idea of I don't have necessarily an idea every day of what to do on stream. I want to be useful, entertaining, have something to talk about. I'll just say, hey, what's up? Today I'm gonna paint, so let's just do that. And maybe, I know, maybe it would work. Some people would say, that's cool, I would watch that. All your ideas would be Van Gogh. Come on, you have to have other ideas. Van Gogh still had like he can say, well, what's the best way to make an impasto? Or that could be like, it's Van Gogh inspired, because Van Gogh did a lot of impasto. But not necessarily about Van Gogh. What? Make a square background, multiply by 4 in the same color and put a smaller foreground on each one. I don't get it. Sorry, it's out of focus here. I don't get it. I don't get what the exercise is. Hey Gary. Yeah, biggest palettes here of the entire...
Command, zooming in for 10 seconds. Zooming out.
Definitely. There's no best. I would say 3/4 has the most potential. But Jade, you can type !Discord and it will give you a link with no space. Just type in the chat, type !Discord. Ba-ba-da-bum.
Command, studio cam for 10 seconds.
Hi, Christopher. Is my
Back to
studio
normal.
even clean? I don't know. I hope it is. The fabric is just part of the fun, of the aesthetic. I don't know. Technically, no. Technically, no. Yeah, it's definitely Caravage-esque. which in my book is a good thing. You can see this red drapery in a lot of Caravaggio's work, actually. See, I end up... I'm probably not using it the right way, because I end up spending most of my time here instead of doing what you're supposed to do with the REILLY palette, which would be to get in there. Oh, very. Yeah, it feels like to me, I feel like crap right now painting with it. And I'm kind of hesitant to keep going because I think I'm gonna ruin this hand. Even though it's like a very small bit. Not because the method is bad or anything, it's just because it's so far from what I do that I don't want to get into that because it feels like there's no space for my brush. The deadline for the challenge review. We'll do the challenge review in like next Friday, for example. But if you haven't done it before that, it's maybe maybe next week, maybe next Friday. I don't know. No rush. I mean, I haven't received many submissions, so might extend it a bit. See, I don't think I'm using it properly though, but it's just it's very hard, like for me right now. Very hard to get into the system here, like plunging your brush between the squares. I don't know, maybe they should be further apart. I don't know what's wrong, maybe it's just me, but I don't know. It feels a bit like yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to always be there. I'm supposed to be in there. But like for most of the hand, I'm gonna paint most of the hand with well, then in that case, I think you're pretty much good, Christopher. You don't necessarily need... Like, I think it's more... it's... Yeah, it's a bit more too OCD for what it brings. in terms of color, like color ability, color range. Yeah, pretty much the fabric of time and space. I like that. I like that. I like the fabric of time and space. Sounds good. Yeah. Well, yeah, try it. Try it. There's nothing wrong can come from just trying it. Now that I realize it, I think I had never used it in one of my paintings before. So maybe I'm yeah, maybe I would just need to really learn it before I can give you my opinion. Like first, like day one opinions is that it's very awkward for me, but just like anything. Hanging out? Yeah, probably just the time of the cleanup, probably. Yeah. Yeah, 1 hour portrait could be an idea. I've never been really good at 1 hour portrait sessions, though. But for a painting, I mean. But a drawing session, quick drawing session could be nice. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop this on this failure. I'm gonna erase most of this hand and start again tomorrow with an actual palette. Yeah, I agree. It can be a cool cool challenge idea for the channel, definitely, Felicia. I'll steal the idea for some point, because I'm always... Well, you know what, I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna do the... Well, yeah, I'm not gonna just... I'm not gonna ruin this hand, because maybe 500 years from now they'll examine the painting and they'll say that it's not been done by me, that it's been done by a student, because this hand feels so much less elegant and good at as the rest, so they'll say that it's been done by a different artist. Alright, so my verdict is it's not for me, and yeah. I need to get a better hand position as well. I had something that doesn't fit. So it's both the hand model that I have, well, my own hand as a model that I have, and the palette doesn't help though. Aha, bam. So we'll fix it tomorrow. But it was fun. It was fun. And so yeah, my verdict is it's good for practicing color mixing scales and stuff. Really not for me though, so I think I'm gonna stay away from it. And yeah, but it's interesting. It was an interesting study to do. So the REILLY method. Put your results. If you do the REILLY method, put your results in the Discord. If you try it, it's still a nice color mixing exercise, so worth your time. Not something that I recommend every day though, but hey, it's been fun. Alright my friends, I hope you liked this video, this stream. Before you go, leave a like, it's super important. I know you don't think it's important, but it is. Leave a like and leave a like on the channel. Make sure you have this subscribed turned on and the notification with the little bell thingy here. You know, like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the good stuff. That's super important.
Screenshot taken in the Discord.
And thank you for the screenshot. And then well, I'll see you for the next one Friday, and the Friday after that we'll have a guest, very special guest. You're gonna love it, and you're going to be super hyped and super thrilled. And so yeah, can't wait. I'll see you for the next